who am I? You know, who am I to the people? You know, I have a kid now, like I said before. Honestly, it's just that fatherhood time. You know, I haven't yet spent much more time with my son as I would want to. And he'll understand that as he gets older. If I can see, like, how can I change and how can I give my son more knowledge rather than luxury things, then I'm gonna do that. My father, though, is the one that really, he knows me best. He's seen me at my worst, he's seen me at my best, you know, and he's gonna be the one that definitely is gonna tell me the things that I really need to focus on how can I beat this guy. I trust him with my life.
In the quiet before the noise, this fight begins long before the bell. Not in a ring, not under lights, but in the spaces where belief is tested and habits are stripped bare. Two fighters, two rhythms, moving toward the same night from opposite directions.
And I just want everyone to see that, you know, my father didn't become Trainer of the Year just by luck. You know, in 2020, you know, we beat the most decorated fighter pound for pound during that time, Vasily Lomachenko. That was from him. You know, he told me how the game plan had to go.
And he'll push him and he'll freaking just try dogging him. But he's trained for that. He's trained to keep on doing that every round. So when he spars, trying to make everybody tired. So when he spars, I tell him, okay, you could box. Yeah. You could box, but what's gonna happen when you can't box no more? You get tired of it and you feel that guy's weight. Yeah.
Touch your body, go on top, and then you go on top. Good. Go. That head.
Concentrate.
You're doing things I can almost never do.
Lopez has always operated in that tense space where confidence leans toward rebellion, where his belief isn't built by applause but sharpened through doubt. He's never needed calm conditions to shine. In fact, disorder has often unlocked his best form. That's what makes his build-up for Shakur Stevenson so compelling.
At times, you know, I didn't want to go into the gym. I didn't, you know, especially when I had to swim. You know, that was painful. But it was the training, the work ethics that you have to put in between the miles of running and the depths of how you have to sacrifice your whole body in this. You know, a lot of people don't understand, even to this day, how much we have to really do, how much we beat up our body.
So when he comes here, you go to the body. When he comes here, go to the body. Esa! Ahí. Oh, beautiful. He can't touch it, champ. He can't touch it.
This time, the noise hasn't distracted him. It has narrowed his vision. Away from the spotlight, Teofimo's camp has focused on strengthening the parts of his game that don't rely on emotion. Improving range control, staying composed between bursts, and adding order to moments where instinct once ruled.
You know who that is, right?
Like really looking.
My father put me in with the top guys, professional fighters at like 12, 13 years old. You know, and that was something that I really enjoyed the most because it was hard. I would cry, I would run away, I didn't like it. I would tell him like, you know, this is not for me, I want to quit. And he would just, nope, no, you could do this. My father would flip it around sometimes and say, okay, you want to quit, we'll quit. And literally I would stop for maybe a day or two and bug him, be like, hey, I want to go back in the gym. So I believe we had this connection, obviously, since birth.
The focus isn't just power or sudden speed. It's patience, timing, and knowing that against a fighter like Shakur, opportunities are rare. You can sense this camp is about responsibility. Less playing to reactions, more internal honesty. Every session seems aimed at one question. Can Teofimo remain sharp when the tempo drops?
Camp, you gotta be serious and stuff. Yeah, that's to get focused on the fight, but gotta make it a fun camp. So, right now, I'm gonna blow my dad's ear.
13,000 years ago, it was a dominant paradigm in the study of ancient America. But it was wrong.
Cover me.
The old notion has been completely overturned. Fossilized human footprints have been found in the New Mexican desert.
I don't feel good, bro. Why you do that shit to me, bro? And you film that shit too, man? You better erase that shit.
He knows Shakur thrives when opponents lose composure. So the work now is about avoiding that trap and learning to apply pressure without forcing it. This isn't Teofimo chasing highlights. This is a fighter trying to control situations. And that version is the most threatening.
It's very important to take breaks in between camps, or even in camp. We're so focused at what's at task that we end up forgetting to have fun. We have a long week of training. Let's reward ourselves for that.
Across from him is Shakur Stevenson, a fighter who has never needed chaos to understand himself because discipline has always been his natural ground.
Today we're doing sparring breakfast. So we're gonna do a little mixed potato hash with some chicken, sausage, and some protein pancakes and some ancient grain sourdough. Ready.
What you mean too slow? Too slow. Get out the way. It's all that matters. It's all that matters. If I'm Zach, I'm gonna keep walking to you and over there. He gotta catch me. It's only 3 runs.
Yeah, 10 ready. We need to be pushed today. Bring the smoke, baby.
That dude ain't going into the
Yep, that's the body. That's that body. July 12th, demolishment. We're gonna demolish it. Guy's way too slow. Shakur's too sharp, too fast, too strong.
Where Teofimo sharpens himself through restraint, Shakur sharpens himself by stripping away excess. His camp has been quiet, focused, and almost methodical. Built on repetition, clarity, and clean decision-making under fatigue. This isn't about changing his style. It's about refining it. Distance control, balance, timing, and mental calm regardless of what's happening around him.
There we go. There we go. Left 15, all the way down.
Tweaking today.
Man, that's that prep. That's what you already been doing.
Yeah.
They got it.
That's good.
That's good.
I feel great. Sprints kind of be getting me right. Get my conditioning right. Sometimes in a fight could turn into a sprint.
Shakur trains like someone who expects resistance, not surprises. He's ready for Teofimo's sudden surges, for crowd energy, for momentum swings. The goal is staying steady through all of it. He doesn't rush exchanges, doesn't hunt reactions, and never confuses activity with control. Everything is about efficiency, limiting options, and drawing mistakes without forcing trades. Shakur knows this fight won't be decided by emotion or volume. It will be decided in the quiet moments between punches, where placement beats force and patience beats impulse. His preparation reflects that. He's not here to prove anything. He's here to...
Fight coming up. I heard you was the one that wanted to fight, right?
Yeah. I actually set this fight up. And I honestly did it because I wanted to push myself. I know that Teo is a tremendous fighter.
I know he's on an extremely high level, and I feel like, well, I know that I can beat him, but I know that this should be a tough set, so I'm ready.
Who were some of the other options you had?
Lamar Roach.
That would have been a real good fight, man. But I mean, Teo, he's a bigger name though, so I see why you went with him.
Yeah, bigger name, and also he got the more accolades. He's been undisputed before. He's won belts at 35, won belts at 30, at 40. So he's more accomplished. So I know that would be a better name on my resume.
While Shakur refines precision in silence, Teofimo Lopez is revealing something just as important in his own way. He's speaking like someone who truly believes ownership matters. Listening to him, it doesn't sound like he's trying to convince anyone else. It sounds like he's reinforcing himself. Teofimo isn't selling bravado. He's defending identity. When he says Shakur can't take what is earned, that isn't promotion. That's personal. I respect how aware he sounds. The gaming references, the Roy Jones Jr. discussions, studying legends like Roy Jones Jr. and Henry Armstrong. That shows this camp isn't fueled by ego alone. It's driven by curiosity. Teofimo knows athletic gifts won't be enough against Shakur. So he's searching for layers, deception, timing off feints, the small details that don't trend on.
You know, I think at certain points in your career, right, you have to realize that you don't know everything, right? And sometimes you have those, like the likes of Roy Jones Jr., who was arguably the best fighter in the 90s, even the early 2000s. And for him to want to, help me in some sense, maybe there's something that I'm not possibly there yet with that he could possibly add to my arsenal, and I would love to see more. I would love to learn more. That's like some type of mental.
I like that he openly admits he doesn't know everything, because that shows growth, not weakness. When he talks about mindset, faith, and destiny, you can hear how much legacy is tied to this fight for him. He's not trying to out-talk Shakur. He's trying to out-believe him. Even his response to Shakur being labeled boring is sharp. He doesn't dismiss it. He accepts it and says that's why he's here to disrupt it. That's Teofimo in short. He doesn't avoid narratives. He confronts them. So while Shakur sharpens control quietly, Teofimo sharpens belief in the noise, studying, adjusting, and convincing himself that preparation plus belief leads to takeover. Agree or not, one thing stands out. He sounds focused, not scattered. That's a dangerous Teofimo Lopez heading into this fight.
What's it like seeing him now kind of face to face? When you look at him, what do you see? Because obviously you're not locked in just yet, and the closer it gets to a fight, obviously things turn a little bit. But when you do look at Shakur, what do you think of him?
I think I don't think too much of it. I think that he believes in himself. That's one thing. But I'm here to destroy his dreams and all that he wants to do and become. You can't take this from me. I worked very hard for it. I've bled for this, and I'm not taking nothing from him, but I just believe that what's gonna happen next is for destiny in the boxing ring to decide.
Right after hearing Teofimo speak with that mix of confidence and reflection, the conversation shifts when Shane Mosley steps in. It feels like a veteran placing a hand on the board and calling for honesty. When someone like Mosley calls this a true 50-50, that isn't uncertainty. That's respect for danger on both sides. I like how he frames it simply. Not hype, not records. One question. Who imposes their will first? That's the tension. Shakur wants the fight calm, controlled, and measured, tightening it round by round. Teofimo can flip a switch and turn speed, angles, and power into disruption. Mostly reminding people that Teofimo can actually box matters, because many fans forget that. This isn't a reckless puncher hoping for luck. This is a fighter who figured out Lomachenko in real time, which is no small.
I think you're going to need a couple of rounds, but the first round is going to be very interesting. Maybe you see some tails, but I think maybe 2 or 3 you're going to start seeing one leave the other. Because I don't think that, maybe, Shakur might show some different, if he has to go after Teofimo, he might show some different type of heart that we haven't seen, or different type of fighting we haven't seen, and vice versa, whereas Teofimo's hitting him with different shots off the angle that it's kind of giving, Shakur Stevenson trouble. We'll see about that.
The talk about weight reflects veteran thinking, not panic or assumptions, just curiosity about how speed carries up. I also like that Shane doesn't rush to crown anyone. He suggests the early rounds are about reading each other, but by round 2 or 3, someone's influence will be clear. Either Shakur starts separating himself with positioning and timing, or Teofimo begins landing those awkward angle shots that make you question everything. The best part is mostly brushing off predictions and saying he's just watching. That fits this fight perfectly. You don't analyze this matchup to feel smart. You analyze it because the margins are thin. This isn't about paper matchups. It's about who forces discomfort. And when a Hall of Famer says he's watching with popcorn instead of a scorecard, that tells you everything.
I think people overlook of Teofimo is he can box when he wants to. Like, he's shown he has a slick style too when he wants to do that.
When he wants to do that. So if you have a slick style and you got power and you got the speed too, and you're fighting at 140, so let's see, I don't know if Shakur Stevenson is going to get slower moving up in weight or not, where Teofimo can hit him. Maybe he was really fast at 130, 26-30, maybe 35, but 40, you put on a little bit more weight. I think that he holds the weight probably really, really good, but you just don't know.
After Mosley breaks it down like someone who's seen every form of chaos, Wade Plemons steps in and shifts the focus slightly. Now it's not just about styles. It's about timing, intent, and boxing finally doing something right. Listening to him, I'm thinking this is what the sport has been missing. 2 elite fighters still in their prime, not waiting years, not hiding, actually signing the fight when it matters. Wade's excitement feels real. He talks about this like it's necessary, not optional. And he's right. This isn't about knockouts or viral clips. It's about levels. Shakur is here to control space, time, and ego. Teofimo is here to prove his belief isn't empty noise. I like how Wade leans into the idea of delusion on both sides, because great fighters have to believe they're unbeatable. Shakur thinks Teofimo is delusional. Teofimo thinks Shakur hasn't faced his reality yet. That's why this works. When 2 fighters both believe they're the answer, the ring clarifies everything.
That Teofimo's delusional, Shakur has that same delusion. It's what propels both of them to the highest degree. Now, here was them facing off a couple of months ago, I think, at this point. And this is what I was talking about. Shakur is, in stature, the bigger guy, which is crazy because he fights at the lower weight. He is a bit more skinny, obviously, but now he's coming up to 140, and it feels like Teofimo Lopez can't go much bigger than 140. Like, I've heard him talk about going to 147. That would be the highest I would think Teo should go, but here's their face-off.
Real quick, Izzy, you should be in the middle. I know, I'm there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like, these dudes don't hate each other, and you don't necessarily have to. There are certain fights where that level of venom is needed, and it's...
What really makes Wade's breakdown hit is how grounded it feels. Despite the hype, there's no pretending this is a wild brawl. No selling a knockout that may never come. This is high-level problem-solving with real consequences. When he calls it a chess match, he's right, but with pride involved. Shakur's style is defensive offense, making opponents miss, quietly embarrassing them, and stacking rounds while they search for momentum. Teofimo's danger lies in his ability to box while choosing when to unleash it. When he's focused, small errors turn into big moments fast. Wade pointing out that Teofimo has already been beaten while Shakur hasn't matters, not as criticism, but as context. Shakur has questions Teofimo has already faced. Teofimo has to show the inconsistency is gone when it counts. Wade frames this as boxing returning to what it should be. Best versus best. No safety nets. We're not watching to see who sells better. We're watching to see who owns their style under pressure.
Realistically go between Shakur and Teo because they're both very technical. Both guys understand the sweet science and fight very smart. No one takes a ton of risks. Teo does have a bit more pop in his shots and can put you down, but if you take the risk of making a massive mistake versus a guy like Shakur, then Shakur will outbox you, outclass you, and take you into deep water. So we'll see. Stylistically, we'll see how this thing goes because I don't see a super over-aggressive Teofimo Lopez. I don't see that. I don't see Shakur getting too out of pocket with him either, but we will have, I think, a very, very high-skill, high-level boxing match.
I'll be honest. I'm going to be real honest. He was a lot better young.
After Wade's calm breakdown, the energy shifts when Lonnie B jumps in. Now it's no longer theory. It's feel. You hear it immediately. This isn't analyst excitement. This is gym experience. That perspective matters. When someone who's worked pads with Teofimo and seen Shakur up close calls this an atomic bomb, I listen. Lonnie isn't guessing. He's speaking from muscle memory. His description of Teofimo's explosiveness is funny but also frightening. You think you understand power until a session forces a glove change mid-round. Then he talks about Shakur like an unfair problem. So clean, so sharp that people don't fully appreciate it in real time. The Roy Jones comparison makes sense. History often treats fighters like this unfairly. When elite opponents look ordinary, fans question the competition instead of recognizing something rare. Lonnie basically says Shakur's issue is being too good, which is a strange but real problem.
And Shakur is phenomenal. I mean, he's just phenomenal. Excellent boxer. Cat-like reflexes. Sharpshooter. Knows what he's doing in there. Great ring generalship. Know when to use his jab. I mean, Shakur is... He's so good that it might be to a default. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. You got somebody like Roy Jones, who was so good that he ain't fighting nobody. These guys are number ones. And it's just that he's so good, he make these guys look like nobody. So they say, oh, well, he ain't fought nobody. How come he just can't be that good?
What makes this breakdown stand out is how he shows danger on both sides without favoring either. He doesn't act like Shakur is untouchable. He clearly says there are shots Shakur has taken that he cannot afford against Teofimo. That's not hate. That's reality. Teofimo isn't the fighter you test habits against. One clean shot and his confidence explodes. Traps appear, rhythm shifts, and suddenly you're dealing with a different opponent. I also love the Floyd versus Roy comparison because it explains everything simply. One bends rules because he can. The other perfects them until they feel suffocating. That's why this fight feels special. Lonnie isn't selling boredom or chaos. He's saying this is skill against skill. Two masters improvising differently. If Shakur doesn't drain Teofimo's confidence early, danger rises fast. If Teofimo can't disrupt Shakur's calm, he's chasing shadows for 12 rounds. That's the tension. That's the appeal.
Because Teo, he's one of those guys. Once he touch some skin, that get him going, get him warmed up. Like, okay, he gets more brave. Like, okay, the wheels start going. Oh, I can do this. I can do that. I can do this. I can do that. And you can see him putting the
when he's in the zone, it's almost impossible to stop it because
there we go.
He's tapping his back of his heel and he's setting up different traps and his confidence is like the key factor of his fight, right?
There we go.
If his confidence is here, you can almost kiss the fight goodbye. So Shakur has to rip his confidence from the second the fight starts and keep it that way because if not...
There we go. He got to keep that gas tank on.
When you stack all of this together, it stops being about who sounds more confident and becomes about whose identity survives. Teofimo Lopez is strengthening belief, adding structure to chaos, convincing himself that moments belong to him. Shakur Stevenson is refining control, trusting process over noise, ready to let patience wear urgency down. Add Shane mostly reminding us this is about will. Wade Plemons framing it as boxing doing things right. Lonnie B showing what these fighters feel like in the gym. Different voices, same conclusion. This fight isn't safe, comfortable, or predictable. It's a clash of ideas. Does disruption break discipline, or does discipline drain disruption? That's the question the ring will answer. No stories, no excuses, just 12 rounds of truth, where styles don't just meet, they're tested. This is the kind of fight that doesn't just crown a winner, it shows who you are when your best is standing right in front of you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.